Welcome to the Get Your Mind Right podcast. Every day, I want to be the first voice inside of your head, the first voice that motivates you to move. I put out these powerful segments every single day because I know the truth. The truth is that when you change your mind, you change your life. So let me, Ryan Stewman, the hardcore closer, get your mind right. Okay, so let me shoot you straight. That voice in the back of your head is not going to shut the fuck up. Listen up. That voice was put here by the divine coder, right? I talk about that a lot, like this planet, whether you believe in God or not, for sake of bypassing religion, I call it the divine coder, whoever it is that created this planet, right? That voice that they put in us is actually your calling. That's your calling. That's what you're supposed to do in life. And so many of us, we get fucked up on drugs. We get fucked up on porn addictions. We get fucked up chasing woman after woman, man after man. We try to think that we can pacify and silence that voice with sex and addictions and gambling and whatever else vices you have. And look, I'm not judging you. I've got my own goddamn vices. That's just part of being a human being. But I listen to the call. I heed the call. When the call shows up and the call says, Ryan, you're supposed to do a podcast and stop talking about business and start talking about how you can help motherfuckers. For years, I did not heed that call. And for years, I lived in misery because I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. And my purpose on life is not necessarily to be a podcaster. Who gives a fuck? My purpose on life is to deliver messages like this to people like you that need to fucking hear it. Because here's what I know. For years, I told that voice to shut the fuck up by smoking marijuana. For years, I told that voice, shut the fuck up by drinking excessively. For years, I told that voice to shut the fuck up by focusing on business and not personal development, not mindset things. When I was put here on this earth, I realized it in 2003 that I was put here on this earth to be a difference maker, an agent of change, a person that restructured and rewired individuals' brains for success. But I thought that success was just business because the frontal lobe, the front part of the conscious part of my brain kept saying, Ryan, just keep talking business. That's all people care about. Keep talking business. That's all people care about. When really you'll never be successful in business if you don't get your motherfucking mind right in the first place. But yet here I am, always talking business. And guess what happens? There was distractions that would show up in my life. Shitty customers that I helped make millions of dollars that turn around and bash me because they miss a payment. And I got to get real with them. And I got to cut them off because they got addictions. And then they say things like, but you're addicted to marijuana, Ryan. So how the fuck can you even tell me to deal with my demons when you haven't dealt with yours? For years, that voice was a persistent cold caller to the back of my head. You see, every day, these motherfuckers try to call me wanting to give me a $25,000 business loan. First of all, I have never applied for a business loan in my entire life. I have no idea where these motherfuckers got my information. I'm guessing there's some public database that shows that I own a bunch of businesses. Some of my businesses don't really make that much money. Like Clixo costs me money. It doesn't make me money. It's a free app. I just do that as a way to give back to the sales community. So every day they call me from a different number, 10 different times. They are manipulative. They switch the numbers out. No matter how many times I block them, they leave me voicemails. They send me text messages. They send me emails. They are persistent as fucking. I don't need their fucking money. But what's happening is that voice is calling you in that same manner. It shows up in your spouse. It shows up in your kids. It shows up in your job. It shows up on your daily commute to traffic. It shows up in the work that you do. It shows up in the books that you read. It shows up in the podcasts that you listen to. It shows up everywhere, and it will not go away until you answer the phone, you answer the call, and you actually do what they're telling you to do on that call. It will not go away until you answer the call of the divine creator put you on this planet to answer. And you got to admit, these business people, these business loan people, they're persistent as fuck, but they're not as persistent as the call. And that calling's not going anywhere. That voice in your head is there for a reason. Like Jiminy Cricket said in Pinocchio, let your conscience be your guide. That voice is not your conscience. That voice is your purpose. And if you ignore your purpose in life, you'll never be fulfilled. And fulfillment is just a portion. Success is just a portion of fulfillment. You have to be fulfilled in all four areas: faith, family, fitness, finance. That's how it works. And if you're fulfilled in your finances, see, forever I was fulfilled in my finances. I've always made a lot of money. Everything that I've done eventually made me money. Mortgages eventually made me money. Coaching eventually made me money. Technology eventually made me money. Mindset coaching eventually made me money. Everything that I've done my whole life has eventually made me money. But guess what? I leveled up and I thought that if I just have money, I can fix everything. But as the great philosopher Puff Daddy once said, more money, more problems. You know why? Because people get focused on the money. They don't listen to the voice. They don't answer the call. And the other problems are there saying, okay, so you got enough money, Ryan. When are you going to be a man to your wife? When are you going to show up and be a man for your family? When are you going to show up and take care of your kids? When are you going to show up and fucking be the person that is a leader and not a fucking dope addicted, pot smoking drug addict and attracting motherfuckers that need an excuse to fucking do hard drugs around you? Ryan, when are you going to, how can you sit here and make cocaine jokes when you've got your own fucking problems that you haven't dealt with? Ryan, you're called to be an agent of change, but here you are doing the same goddamn thing. One day I picked up the phone, I answered the call, and here we are. You're listening to me, I'm guiding you, and I'm telling you, make today the day that you answer the call, because what you resist persists. And if you resist that voice, right, you resist it with alcohol, you resist it with drugs, you resist it with women or men or dildos or Pornhub or whatever the fuck that you're into. And again, I'm not judging you. We've all got our things. If you resist it with religion, if you resist it with exercise, if you resist it with dieting, if you resist it with overeating, it's still going to be there, just like those business cold callers every day until you finally handle your business. So I ask you this, make today the day that you answer the call. Make today the day that you listen to the voice. Make today the day, and listen, it's not like it's an instant and everything's fucking perfect. But let that inner voice guide you. If you're miserable in your job, it's because the voice is telling you this isn't what you're supposed to fucking do. If you're miserable with the other person that you're with, your significant other, it's because that's not who you're supposed to be with. And listen, I'm not telling you to get a divorce. I'm just telling you the voice is there for a reason. The voice is like your friend that says, man, I don't know, that doesn't sound like a good idea. And he's right or she's right. That's the voice. It's telling you, hey, here's the idea. Here's what you were put here for. You weren't put here to work in sales. You were put here to engineer the next fucking rocket ship to the moon. You weren't put here to engineer the next rocket ship to the moon. You were put here to engineer the next software. You weren't put here to engineer the software that you're working on. You were put here to work in HR. You were put here to serve the public. You were put here to be the biggest nonprofit. You were put here to be the coldest salesperson on the planet. Whatever that calling is for you, answer it today, and your life will change. I promise you that. And by the way, if you like to surround yourself with people who are answering the call, people who are doing things on a huge level, people who are tired of masking and telling that voice to shut up, and people who've answered it, go to forceofaverage.com and watch my training there. Forceofaverage.com. Watch, it's a free training. Obviously, at the end of the free training, we're going to offer you an opportunity to get your mind right and join our Get Your Mind Right coaching program. It's a game changer. But go over to forceofaverage.com and let me change your mind, teach you how to answer the call, teach you how to listen to the voice, and change your life.